Happy Friday the 13th, everyone. I'm ThatGuyMatt, and welcome back to my channel. Last time I ranked my favorite Friday the 13th entries, and now it is time to rank my favorite Jasons in the series. We have 7 people who portrayed him. Of course, it is important to recognize that this is just my opinion, so if you guys have a different ranking than mine, go ahead and type it down below in the comments. Or even if you guys want to do a video response and let me know how you guys would rank them, that's totally fine. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this. At number 7, we have Steve Dash, the guy who played Jason in Friday the 13th Part 2. Even though I still like this Jason, and I do like what, Steve Dash did for the character, I think the main reason why I don't care for it is mainly 2 things. One, of course, is the aesthetic. I don't really care for the hillbilly Jason look. It's just not my personal thing. I definitely prefer the hockey mask, of course. And I also think that Jason is probably the most stumbly in this movie. He falls down a whole bunch and he breaks his pitchfork in half after falling down off a chair. Even just, the fact that, like, Ginny can fucking kick him in the nuts and he falls down afterwards. It's just fucking silly. I think that given what he did a good enough job. And, like, I wouldn't even say he did a bad job at what he was doing. I just think that out of all the portrayals, it's probably my least favorite Jason portrayal. So Steve Dash will be going in at number 7. Number 6 is going to be Ken Kirzinger. This is the guy who played Jason in Freddy vs. Jason. And I know that a lot of people really did not like Ken Kirzinger, especially because they were expecting for Kane Hodder to come back as Jason in Freddy vs. Jason. But considering that this guy gets way too much hate, I actually think that he did a pretty good job, all things considered. It's not my favorite Jason, obviously. I still ranked him at number 6. But I think given what he did a good enough job. He's tall, he's imposing, he has a couple of those mannerisms with the head tilt and whatnot. I just think that he didn't really bring a whole lot of personality to the character. Say what you will about the other Jasons, but whether that you agree with them being better or not, but I think a lot of the other Jasons and the actors who portrayed them, they had a lot more personality than this Jason. He's just kind of a stock Jason, nothing really too much that stands out about him. But in terms of veracity and in terms of like actual performance, I think that Ken Kirzinger did his best given his circumstances. So I don't give the guy too much flack for it. He did what he could. It's just not my personal favorite Jason. So he's going to be sitting at number 6. Number 5, this one is really going to piss some people off, but I don't really care. It's going to be Kane Hodder. Now, yes, I know that a lot of people might be thinking, like, what, Kane Hodder? Especially because he played Jason 4 different times. Look, I totally get why people love Kane Hodder. Thing is, I think that there actually are actors who came before him that still played him better, personally. I know that Kane Hodder played him 4 different times, and I know that people like his looks and whatnot. You have to realize that the reason why he's also listed at number 5 is because I think that out of all the Jasons he's had, I think only 2 of them really land for me. I like his look from Part 7, and I think that his veracity in Part 10, Jason X, of course, is pretty good. I think that, like, just the way that they utilize Jason in a lot of these movies are not that great compared to, like, some of the previous contemporaries. And again, I know that people love Kane Hodder as Jason. I do too. I'm just saying that I think that there actually are actors that came before him that did a better job. So for right now, Kane Hodder is going to sit comfortably at number 5. At number 4, we have Richard Brooker, who played Jason in Friday the 13th Part 3. And I think that Richard Brooker is actually a pretty underrated Jason, all things considered. I know that a lot of people love to give Ted White, CJ Graham, and even Kane Hodder credit for, cementing the character in horror history, but let's not forget that Richard Brooker was the one that actually first wore the hockey mask. He was the one that was the most intimidating. He was a lot meaner than the Stephen Dash version in Part 2. He actually laid a pretty good foundation for what Friday the 13th and Jason Voorhees would become in the later films. So I think that in that aspect, he doesn't really get a whole lot of credit. I know that I personally have said that Friday the 13th Part 3 is actually one of my least favorite entries. However, I think I can acknowledge that he was one of the better aspects of this movie. He's a lot more maniacal, and he almost seems to enjoy taking out his victims, and he takes off his mask just to show Chris and just to taunt her a little bit. I think that Richard Brooker is just kind of a fun Jason, and he's one that I feel like just doesn't get enough credit. So yeah, Richard Brooker is going to be sitting at number 4. Number 3 is going to be CJ Graham from Jason Lives. This is like one of my favorite Jasons, period. I like the look of Jason. Yes, I know people like to think of him as the Home Depot Jason. I don't give a shit. I like his tool belt. I like the mask. I like his, like, ferocity, fucking punching people through the heart and ripping out their heart, like skull crushing. He has this physically imposing demeanor, and I think that just the look of Jason, the aesthetic, is really well done. The fact that he's brought back to life from fucking, like, lightning strikes. I just think that CJ Graham did a great job in this movie, and I'm willing to admit that a lot of that is due to the fact that he's in my favorite entry, which is Jason Lives, but I just love this performance. I don't know, I can't get enough of it. I think CJ Graham just did a great job, so he will be at number 3. Coming in at number 2, we have Ted White, the guy who played Jason in Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Ted White is basically Richard Brooker, but amped up even more. He's a lot more brutal, he's a lot more vicious, he runs even faster, and he is just a visceral Jason. I think that him being kept in the shadows actually makes him a lot scarier in this one. And Ted White's brutality in this movie, my god, combine that with Tom Savini's excellent practical work, and you've got a Jason that is both physically imposing, badass looking, and just one that you should not fuck with.
Ted! Hey, Ted, where the hell's the corkscrew?
Yeah, remind me to run away from this guy if I ever see him. So yeah, I love Ted White. I think he's a great Jason, so he's sitting at number 2. And of course, as controversial as it might be, my number 1 pick is going to be Derek Mears, the guy who played Jason in Friday the 13th, 2009. This performance is fucking badass, okay? Jason is the scariest he's ever been in this one single movie alone. He runs like hell, he sets traps, he like stalks his prey more maniacally and viciously, and he just has so much brutality to him. He's much taller than any of the previous Jasons, and he is just badass. If we were to ever have another Friday the 13th movie at some point, I would want Derek Mears to come back as Jason. I think he actually is contractually obligated to return at some point, but either way, that's how good his Jason is. And the thing is, what I like about this Jason is that we get a couple of different iterations in this movie. We get the sack head, which I think actually is an improvement over part 2, personally, and we also get the actual hockey mask. You know, it's like we get a 2-for-1 deal in this one movie. Even if you don't care for Friday the 13th, 2009, you have to admit that Derek Mears is the Jason that you probably would want to encounter the least. That's how fucking terrifying this guy is. And that's why I'm gonna put him comfortably at my number 1 Jason performance. Guys, thank you for watching my video on ranking the Jasons. I'm curious how you guys would rank the actors. Do you guys agree with my list? Do you disagree? I'd like to know what you guys think down below in the comments. But until next time, guys, this has been ThatGuyMatt, and I will see you guys all in my next video. But until then, I hope you all take care.